Alright. Alright. Now we should be cooking with peanut oil, everybody. Now we should be cooking. Now we should be cooking. Now we should rock. It should work. We should be straight. You know, you're going to have a technical difficulty here every once in a while. You're going to have a hitch and you giddy up, but you got to tie up in, you know. It's just going to be like that sometimes. It ain't going to be butterflies, rainbows, and candlesticks all the time. I'm telling you. But I got some coffee in here just waiting. Chris, we got it figured out, bro. We got it figured out. So he was live on his own page, is what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, should be good. I mean, I sent you the questions earlier. I don't know if you looked over them at all. I texted it to you. I don't know if you were able to
look. Some of them before, and then I think I seen some of the ones you added.
So, yeah, because I added your questions in there, and then I added a little bit up at the top of the page there. So, what's going on, everybody? I know that what's up, Datsu, bro? If you're still around after our show tonight, I'll get in and talk a little Saints ball, bro. I'm excited for that. I tried to pop in your live that you had for like 2 seconds before the program, and because I was going to say I'll hop on later if you on later. But as long as Logan ended his live or whatever, he should be in here in a minute. I mean, I'm being patient because I'm just grateful for the opportunity. But I'll probably text y'all in the group chat once I get to next Tuesday confirm. And we might, if you can do the show at 7 next Tuesday, that would be great. Because that's when this guest is able to do it, is 7 o'clock on Tuesday. So it will be awesome because then we'd have back catchers on, you know. And this is a guy that you'll know the name of. So there we go. Man, what's going on? What's going on, Logan?
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Sorry, I didn't know if you could invite me as like a host. I didn't know what the deal was there. Sorry about that.
You're all right, man. You're from Chicago. You're a Brewers fan. I'll just blame it on the Brewers fan thing. And that's something that I'm glad I said that now. Because for those of y'all that don't know, let me introduce tonight's guest. This is Logan Kreske. Is Kreske how you say it?
Yep.
Logan Kreske, this man is from Chicago, Illinois. For some reason, he's a Brewers fan. We'll get into that. Former two-time player at 2 different JUCOs, won a national championship in JUCO, and now is going into his second year as a Wichita State Shocker. And they're in the American Athletic. They don't play in the city of Memphis this year, so that sucks for me from the opportunity to go see him play live. But thank you for coming on, Logan. We really, really do appreciate you, bro.
Thanks for having me, fellas. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
We may or may not have another former D1 catcher on the program next Tuesday night. Working on that right now. It's a name that y'all know. I'll just say he played in the Southeastern Conference and played LSU in the SEC tournament last year.
Yeah, I also sorry to disappoint with the Memphis last year. I low-key want to go to Memphis again. That was a really good time. I like beating those guys.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. What game did we go to? Who did we see? Who did we see him play last year? I don't even remember. It's the only time I've ever been at FedEx Park. Tickets are not bad. It's like $10 a ticket to go. It's really not that bad. This is a Memphis team is a borderline NCAA tournament team this year, depending on how you look. But man, we're just grateful for the opportunity. I want to get into your story. I think it's awesome for people to tell their stories. I know that you're a man of faith, and that's something that's very big. That's something that's big to Chris. That's something that's big to myself. And I think that, you know, when you see the Super Bowl that we just had, where guys are, you know, talking about Jesus and it's the first thing they talk about, and how Jalen Hurts talked about it, I just trusted the process from being benched, and, you know, people saying I wasn't good enough. So, like, we'll start off the interview before we get into our questions. Like, how did you get to know Jesus, and what are some of the verses that are, you know, impacting you now and have impacted you throughout your life?
Yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of my faith story is very interesting. I was raised in a Christian household, and my parents brought me up in it, and I went to a private school. So that was kind of all around me my entire life. But I didn't really understand that religion is a relationship as well as it is an understanding. And so I don't think that I really gained a sort of faith or relationship with God until I was in college. Previously, it was more just, you know, attending things or reading my Bible, you know, like I would have Bible class and we'd have chapel and stuff. I was like, okay, this is cool. It's rules and regulations. It's a guideline that I'm supposed to follow. But it wasn't until my second year of college when I was in Alabama until I found a really good church that poured into me. I was able to pour into, and I learned a lot about my faith and myself, really. I mean, that was the first time that I really experienced a lot of things that I could see a direct correlation with God. And, you kind of start to see a lot more things differently. So, yeah, to answer your question, college was the first time that it really turned around for me.
Okay. What are some verses that you're leaning on now, or some verses that had helped you get in it? So you said it was college. I should have prayed today, but I didn't. Should have prayed yesterday, but I didn't. And I like praying in the woods. That's just my favorite spot to be. Every time I see a deer, I think it's just God giving me an opportunity to. It just scratches my brain to see a deer. So, what are some verses that stuck out to you, and what are some verses that you're leaning on as your season starts?
Mm-hmm.
Friday, it's Valentine's Day. Sure, it's opening day of college baseball season, but
yeah, I like that perspective. Yeah, so in my recruiting process, leaving junior colleges, trying to find different junior colleges, and then transitioning from junior college to the NCAA level, I really was looking at John 13:7, and it was talking about how the Lord knows the ways for you, and things that are coming are bestowed upon you for a reason. And recently, I've been looking to Luke, and I just posted this verse on it was in a post that I don't know, media day pictures, whatever. And the verse, I can't remember the passage, but it was in Luke, and it was talking about how nobody can gain a second from worrying. I think that's something that I've lived by, even though I haven't known that verse my entire life. I've just never been a worrier. I'm such a present person, day to day. I think that worrying things a week from now, a month from now, can be beneficial, and I think it can help some people. But for me, that's just it doesn't help me at all. It really distracts me. And I think that's one of my favorite verses. And I also have a problem, when a verse gets too mainstream for some reason, I'm like, time to switch it up. But I don't know why, but yeah, that's just kind of my mentality there.
I like that you said that verse, man, because I've been open on my platform about my battle with anxiety and my battles with depression that I've had.
Yeah.
And years ago I turned to alcohol, and now that's having health effects on my body. So it's my anxiety was I realized my anxiety was programmed in my head from the time I was a kid. So now I'm on a daily lower end dosage anxiety meds just to calm the storm that is. But like you said, worrying will just, it says somewhere in the word that worrying won't add a single minute to your life.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome that you said that. And Chris, you have anything you want to add about faith? I know me and Chris I had a random live, a month ago or whatever. And it was 11 o'clock at night. I saw Chris was in the chat, and we were supposed to talk ball, and we ended up talking about testimony and faith. And there was somebody in the chat that you really needed to hear that. So Chris, you got anything you want to talk about on the faith aspect before we get into our questions?
Yeah, man. It's funny you mentioned John 13:7 because I have that verse on my wall. You may not know now, but you will understand later. I think that's so powerful, especially as I feel as men, we come in and we want to get things done. We want to grow, we want to develop, we want to get things done. We got goals and aspirations. And let's be honest, we're all human. We want them now. So it's really hard to really grow that patience. And then, like you said, I know Logan mentioned, going to college. It's our first time going out on our own, really. And I had the same experience at A&M. And I failed a bunch of times, but I'm sure just like Logan, through those failures, you step back and you're okay, I got to let God have control. Man. And allowing him to take control, you're wow, I learned more about myself and how he wants me to walk, how he wants me to grow as a person. And man, it's beautiful, man. So I definitely, in college for me, that was definitely a point in time in my life I really grew closer to God. So I can agree with Logan a lot on that.
Yeah. Letting God take over is really big. That's something that I leaned into heavy this year. In junior college, I was super, man, I got to get in the right headspace. I got to do this. I was very superstitious. And, this year I was just man, I've put in all the work, and I'm just going to let God take control here. I don't get upset. I've never been a guy that gets upset if I perform poorly, but really on a pitch to pitch basis, man, that, whatever happens there. And if it's not my thing, it's not my thing. It's not my day. It's not my day. And when it is, thank God. And when it's not, thank God. So yeah, I agree with you there.
I heard this will be my first year coaching Little League, and I'll be coaching 11 and 12U. And I've reached out to some coaches that I know and coaches that I was around in high school. And one of them said, because he coaches a middle school team that's a little bit older than the kids I'll be coaching, and he was like, I had a coach that we played against who used to tell his team, and they'd yell it back to him, what's the most important pitch in baseball? The next one.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, in a game that you failed 7 out of 10 times and you're considered elite, that game's hard. You're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. And, like, for y'all, it was college. For me, it was going through what I went through with FedEx. I was chasing the bag, trying to, get into leadership. And I wasn't ready. And God ended up removing me from FedEx, but it's the greatest thing that's ever happened because they led to busting these sports. So I'm very grateful for trusting God's timing. Like, even with what me and my fiance are dealing with now, you just got to trust God's timing in the situation. And so I'm very happy that we were able to start this interview off talking about it, because that's the way you lead off with it. And so to get into our questions, I've got 16, Logan. I know you don't have a whole lot of time tonight because it is game week for y'all.
Yeah.
Where y'all playing? You're playing in California in the first week of the season, right?
We're going to McNeese State to open up the season, and then from McNeese we'll we have an 11-hour bus ride. So yeah, I'm gonna take you through my travel real quick. Yeah, so tomorrow morning we leave for McNeese, and then Sunday we play a game at noon. We get on the road at 4, probably get home at 2 a.m. We'll have Monday off, and then Tuesday we'll fly to Hawaii, and that'll be fun. But same thing, like we're gonna play a game in Hawaii Monday night, fly through the night, get home Tuesday. And then we play again that Friday. So it really starts off hot. It starts off hot.
Oh, my goodness.
That's going to be crazy from McNeese State. Well, I guess it's not McNeese State anymore. It's just McNeese. But it was. Yeah. That's not a bad team, Logan. That's not a bad program.
No, you don't ever underestimate anybody.
That's a program with some history and some good history. And
they're
not as good as the purple and gold that I root for. But, which I do, Chris, I don't know if you saw it in my video today. I do think we dropped the series to y'all. But what year did you redshirt in college?
My freshman year when I was at McLennan in Waco, Texas. I was a medical redshirt.
Oh, yeah. I drove through McLennan a couple of times, man. I know where that is. Yeah, I know where that is. Okay.
Yeah, there's not much that you're driving through, though. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that your national championship season?
Yes.
Was it medical redshirt season?
Yeah. Yeah, I tell people people will forget about that years from now, but I'm going to tell my kids one day I started on that team. So
yeah, hey, let it be known, man. Come on, bro.
being a part of it's being a part of it, man. I don't care, what I did or how I contributed, but I know I love those guys and they love me, and that was a special group. So,
I mean, last year you were academic All-American athletics, so I'm assuming you showed the example in the classroom.
Yeah, I've always done that. In high school too. I'm never like the book smart kid. Like I had to work for my grades, but I've always been like a 3.8, 4.0 kind of student, and my mom instilled that in me from pretty young. And yeah, I've just never really looked back. I've never been super interested in school, but I've always made sure to keep my grades up because it's paid dividends for sure. It's allowed me to put money in my parents' pocket in college, and that is one of the biggest things that you could ask for. So,
absolutely. I'm the opposite. I could not give. I blew out my knee, so I went into high school thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna join the army. I'm gonna be an MP, whatever." Blew out my knee at the end of my freshman year. Felt sorry for myself my entire sophomore year. The crazy part about not the sad part. I mean, it's all part of God's plan, and it led to this, so it's fine. But I was getting ready to go back and play football. Like I was getting ready for football workouts, and I blew my knee out in class walking. So I didn't even blow my knee out playing game. Yeah, in class.
Oh,
I had recurrent patella dislocations. And so, like, I went to step over somebody's foot. Ironically, I was going up to the front of the classroom to talk to a guy that ended up getting on Sports Center on Scott Bell's top play, Kyle Ginn, that's from my county, because he hit a home run in the state championship game for Covington, like 7 months after tearing his ACL. Couldn't even walk. So you redshirted that year at McLennan.
Mm-hmm.
So then you spent did you spend another year there, or did you go to Alabama Coastal after that?
Yeah, so we won the Natty, and I was thinking in my head, man, I'm getting out of here. Like, they're going to bring in – I'm never going to see the light of day. So to take you back to my really like the full encompassing baseball story, my freshman year of high school, I was hurt. My sophomore year of high school, I was hurt. My junior year, my sophomore year, I split time, but I don't consider that starting. My junior year of high school, I sat to the senior catcher, and then my senior year, I lost to COVID. So then my freshman year in college, I'm sitting there and I get sick. And it wasn't an injury. It was a sickness. Like I lost 30 pounds, couldn't get out of bed for 3 months in the fall. And if you don't play in the fall, you're not playing in the spring. So I was like, I might as well just chalk this one up. And so, I medical redshirted. And so we won the Natty, and they're going to bring in so much talent. There's no way I'm going to be able to play here. They had 2 guys who didn't play on the national, like in my position on the national championship team, that were going to come back. And so I thought they were going to get first crack, and they were older than me. So I just thought it's probably God's putting me in a different direction here. And, I thought about it. Maybe I should have stayed, whatever the case is, but you can't play that game with yourself. That's a lose-lose. But, so I ended up transferring to Coastal Alabama Community College and started every game there for 2 years and loved it to death. Such a different culture, such a great team, a lot of great guys. But, we kind of stunk, but, it was the time of my life, dude. I love that place more than anything.
You didn't stink, and that's something I'll get into in a little bit. I'm trying to do better, like with my content, like with my Barry Bonds video that I dropped, which is my very first long-form video. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer through his first 12 years of his career, bro, and he ruined it because of his ego, because it was the Barry Bond, or it was the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire home run chase that year, and they were talking about daggone Mark McGwire, not talking about the fact that he had hit 46 home runs and over 300. And he ruined a Hall of Fame career, dude, because, like, man, I had a lot of fun working on that video. It was cool, and then I printed off so many stats, and I ended up not even using them. I wasted so much of my mother-in-law's printer ink just to not even use it.
That's cool.
But I didn't know that. I didn't know that you got hurt. So you basically haven't even played that much since like middle school, basically.
I was playing in the summers with my travel team, and but that was really it. That was the connection that got me to college, though, because I hadn't played in so long. My summer league coach was a Pirates scout for 27 years, and he recruited players out of Baylor, and the Baylor coach became the McLennan coach. And so that's how he sent me and 3 other Chicago kids from the similar organization to Texas. And so that's how it came to be.
That's how it is, man. Like I graduated with Dalton Rushing, who's the number 1 prospect in the Dodger organization. He might get a crack at the bigs this year. Playing in Brighton High School, where we went, was not how he got scouted by Louisville and almost took him to Supers. Like that's not how it happened. And then we graduated with a guy that played for free for a few years. We graduated with a guy that played at community college and then went to play NIA ball at not Fullerton. Somebody said Fullerton in the chat. Played at Cumberland. And his brother Logan is a pitcher for Memphis. Logan Rushing. I don't know. I mean, he's not highly ranked in terms of top 100 prospects this year. But, it's like the showcases that, around the showcases and stuff like that is how these kids get scouted now. It's not how it used to be. And it's very awesome that he was a Pirate scout, because Pirates are an organization, man. They got Paul now, and that's fun. Let me see here. So you played basketball in high school, right?
Yeah, this is some impressive research. Wow, yeah.
It's on your you look you up in Wichita.
My boy doesn't disappoint with research.
Man, wherever I find it, everybody can find this. Just looking this man up and clicking the Wichita State thing. But some of the stuff that's on there is pure gold. Okay, and so were you one of them sucker white boys out there, or were you cold? Were you hooping?
No, they put me in I was tiny. Wait, time out. First of all, let's go back to you looking a bunch of stuff up. There's a lot of stuff on me in the internet from when I was younger. So hopefully you're going to bring us.
I went to Wichita State's website.
Okay, I'm not worried about it. There's nothing in there that's incriminating, but it's pretty. Like I used to be a model, so there's some my old model photos from when I was 10 or 11. Some of those get brought up.
That one out is the background. I've been knowing that, Logan.
So to answer your question, I was a power forward. They put me at the 4 spot, and I was like, man, I'm like a 2. I'm a shooter. What am I doing at the 4? But I was one of the bigger guys, I guess. And I was like 5'9", and I could post somebody up, and I worked hard. So I played a good amount. I was on the B team. I was on the B team for basketball and for baseball. So that didn't put a chip on my shoulder, but I was like, okay, I see where I'm at here. And this is, I don't want to be at this level. I want to be on varsity or be on the JV team, whatever the case is. So I just got to work at it. And so that paid off for me definitely in baseball. But yeah, after my freshman year of basketball, I was like, yeah, I really want to focus on baseball. I like baseball a lot. And looking back at it, I probably didn't have to decide that soon. But I think it was probably the best choice for me, and it definitely helped to narrow down what sport I wanted to pursue. But yeah, I was okay at basketball. I could shoot lefty and righty, like from deep, and so yeah. But I was just okay. I was nothing to brag about.
Is there anything you learned on the basketball court that helped you on the diamond at all?
I wouldn't say so. Maybe communication wise, because I feel like there's constant communication in basketball. In baseball, it's kind of a pitch-to-pitch basis. So I would say that I learned how to talk probably a little bit more. And I also got made fun of a lot in basketball. Basketball was the first time I was kind of like outside my comfort zone. And, all these kids from my high school have been playing together since they were kids. And so I was kind of like the new kid in. And, they kind of gave me some crap and, they called me L-Dog. And so I kind of stuck with that nickname for a while. I wasn't a big fan of it, but I kind of like, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so I think it gave me like my first kind of bit of criticism as a high school athlete. So I don't take that for granted. But yeah, there were definitely some teachable moments in basketball.
My work, they call me skinny pimp. I don't like it, but it's better than dumbass, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's all they call me, but I got a good reputation. As long as I keep that good reputation,
yeah,
it'll be all right. So I noticed it said you've got 2 other siblings. Are you the oldest? Are you the middle? Are you the youngest? And does your family have a history of athletics? Like, did your mom play anywhere? Did your dad play anywhere?
Yeah, so I am the oldest. I have 2 younger siblings. They're twins. They're sophomores in college. And so my grandpa was a twin. My dad's an identical twin. My siblings are twins. And so hopefully my future kids aren't twins, but the chances of that are pretty high. I'll pray for my
wife to be watching.
But yeah, I do not have a serious history of athletes in my family. My mom was a really good softball player. She had a good arm, but I mean, she hung that up after high school. My dad was a quarterback, hung that up after high school. I used to tell people that my mom swam in college. I just found out that wasn't true. So nothing. Yeah, no Christian McCaffrey. My dad's an athlete. My brother's an athlete. Nothing like that. But I mean, yeah, my whole family played high school athletics pretty much.
It sounded like everybody kind of gave him an arm, man. Mom and dad gave him a candy behind the plate, man.
Yeah, my dad always said, "Hey, that's from your mom," and I was like, "All right, I'll take it, whatever." Yeah, I'll take it. But yeah, I think both sides contributed. I'll give both of them a little credit there.
So did they both go to college just for academics?
Yeah, my mom went to the UW-Madison, and my dad went to the University of Milwaukee, and then got his master's at UChicago.
That's cool. What do your parents do, if you don't mind me asking? That's not a question I had, but I'm just kind of curious.
My mom is a chief of staff. She has a really interesting job, actually. She is in charge of 1,000 employees across 8 different houses for a very well-off family.
That's cool.
And my dad just started his own private equity firm.
That's awesome, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very high achievers, go getters. So whenever baseball is over, I have a lot to live up to in the financial world. So
yeah, but I mean, we live in a world where God says you can't serve 2 masters at the same time, and the world says hold my beer and watch this. So
yeah,
it's like we live in a world where I took a pay cut when I lost my job at FedEx, but it led to this. I'll take it. I'll take making less money and having free time. Never would have the opportunities. And I'm trying to read my questions. Well, we've already talked about in the academic side of it. You said your mom's really pushed you. Now I understand a little bit more as to what that is. So you're a sports management major, right?
Yeah.
What is your intention as of right now? If you get the opportunity to go play in a Frontier League, would you go? That's kind of a follow-up to this question. But what are you intending to do other than ball out this season for Wichita State, try to win a College World Series with your degree?
Yeah, so the answer is nothing. I will never use my sport management degree. I tell people sport business just so it sounds better, because I don't even think sport management sounds respectable. No offense to the rest of my sport management majors. But yeah, to answer your question, nothing. I don't want to be, a coach. I don't want to coach, like baseball. It's not really in my interest. I would like to be an individual coach. I think that catching is very obscure. And when I was a kid coming up, there was very little access to catching coaches. And I see a lot of coaches online now. Like one of my teammates is actually an online pitching coach. And I was like, that's brilliant. He kind of stole he didn't steal the idea from me, but he got to it before I did. And so I'm really interested in that. I think there's a lot of knowledge that I have to give in that area. And so that's something that I'm definitely interested in. But yeah, I will not be using my degree. I'm very interested in business in all realms, like real estate or stocks. I'm really big into crypto. So I'm interested in a lot of things and not really sure where it's going to take me. So that kind of pans into the, being present focus. I'm very just, whenever baseball is over, I'm going to get to that point. And to answer your question about the frontier stuff, I don't think that I would be interested in that. I'd primarily be interested in playing overseas if I don't get signed after this year. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I want to pursue it while I can, and I love baseball, so I'm going to play it as long as I can. But, if it doesn't work out and God's leading me in a different direction, that's what I'm going to do.
Heard that, brother. Some questions I've asked are not on my paper. Some of them I have asked some of them we've just gotten through naturally with the conversation. Chris, do you have anything that you've been thinking of before I get in to what I think is one of the coolest parts of this interview and something I'm very excited to ask you about, Logan?
Man, listen, honestly, bro, like I've always wanted a actual college baseball player to explain this to a lot of people, but I don't think people understand that scholarships in baseball are very much different than scholarships in football and like basketball. So if you could like break that down for just like the average viewer, because I feel like everybody thinks, oh, you're on scholarship, 100% everything's covered. Baseball is very, very different. So if you could explain that, I feel like that'd be valuable.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal question, actually. So our basketball team here, I won't give specific numbers, but each player on that team is making ridiculous amount of money. I mean, tens of thousands, and it's not like that for every other sport. Personally, we don't have football here, so I can't speak on football. But I know as baseball players and being the primary sport at a school, we are not getting paid as much as you think we're getting paid. The top guys in the portal are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars. But, I mean, you look at, we're a mid-major team. You look at a mid-major team, and each guy is probably getting a few help me out kind of checks, and getting paid to attend events. Some guys get cars, but I mean that's like the max limit that we go. Like we got 2 players that have cars as a result of our NIL, which we're very grateful for. But I mean it's nothing like like the guys that make Omaha, Louisiana, LSU. I mean they're getting each of their players. I assume are getting a lot of money. But we have a lot of guys that are getting a few $100s or nothing. So it's really hit or miss. That's the problem is the landscape changes every year. So like for example, next year they're all full scholarships. It has to be paid full scholarship for baseball, and so I think that's vastly different, and that's going to be quite an interesting change. So I wish that I would have been born a year later, but I will not be sticking around to see that. I don't think.
I saw it somewhere where like a baseball team has you got like 25 guys, 30 guys ish.
We have 44 on the roster.
Okay, only 8 of those guys will actually be on scholarship. If you're lucky,
there's probably 20 that are 20 to 25
actual
are getting some sort of money.
Okay,
yeah,
because the scholarship numbers for baseball and softball too are very low. Like you have a lot of guys, and I'm glad NIL is a thing now, man, because like it's helping a lot of guys. Like you play at Wichita State. Let's do a school like Memphis, right? Memphis's baseball program not very good. Let's just be honest. I mean, new regime, they got a chance to be better. They're in your conference, right? But they play football and basketball. We all know U of M, football and basketball bringing the most money. The baseball guys, they got, NIL opportunities within the city, but most of the money isn't going to them. You know what I mean? They got a nice field. And, I mean, I think FedEx Field is not, or FedEx, whatever they want to call it. I've only been on one.
Sure.
Be real. They hit the heck out of the ball that day, scored 10 runs anyway. Like, park is nice. The guys aren't making that much money there. But, like, y'all, I think it's cool that NIL is a thing because it's helping a lot of you and your teammates out. So I don't know if you're aware of this, but you have the Alabama Coastal Community College record for most consecutive runners thrown out. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point it out. That's not really a question, but that's just an awesome stat. You threw out 3 runners, like all 3 outs in 2 different innings in the same game. Is that correct understanding?
I think so. 1 inning it was for sure, and then I think the next inning it was 2 out of the 3.
Okay.
Hey, offense to Mom. Mom gave you the cannon, bro.
Yeah.
Explain that game. Do you remember the game? Do you remember the team? Remember
I
where
remember
you were?
all
I
of
read
it.
that and I was like, "What?"
Yeah. I remember all of that. Yeah. So
you got 4 ABs last year. What?
yeah. So it was, it was excuse my language. It was one of the smaller fields that we played at, and cracker box. I mean, the ball. I don't know. The horrible grass, super patchy. My roommate's playing in right field, and this is a win or go home game for us. This is my first year there.
Also, you're clutch is what I'm hearing for MLB teams that might be watching it.
Yeah,
or watching
maybe
on YouTube after the fact. He's clutch.
I appreciate it. So yeah, I mean, win or go home game for us. We had to win like 4 in a row to go to the conference tournament. And so how it works in Alabama at the playoffs, there's 10 teams, let's say, and 6 of the 10 go to the conference tournament, and then it's like double elimination from there, and then the winner goes to Grand Junction. And so this team had Coast Alabama South, who it was at the time. We hadn't been to the tournament in like 4 years. I mean, we're just historically awful. And the new coach came in. He recruited me and my roommate. You're the only 2 guys that he recruited. And so, we kind of have a little chip on our shoulder about that. We joke about it. Anyway, we're playing. They're blue. That's all I remember. I don't remember the name. The names in Alabama are so obscure. But yeah, I couldn't tell you why they kept running. But I was just like, I would get the ball, and I'm like, wow, this guy's halfway there. Like, he doesn't stand a chance. And just throw it. And, I mean, just one after the other. And I threw the 3rd one out, and I kind of started it. Yeah, maybe one of my teammates is in the chat. He said Selma. It might have been Selma. Yeah, my teammate in the chat actually pitched that game, too. And,
hey, shout out to the pitcher, man. Hey,
push it out. But,
why'd you let him on, bro?
Why'd you let
him on the bag for Logan?
The first time in that inning, so the last guy I threw, and I just started running off the field because I was like, he's hosed. And so I get in the dugout, everybody's freaking out. I like pimped it, and I was like, I don't even think about it like that. I just, want to get in the dugout, whatever. So yeah, that was the first one. And then the second inning, I mean, they're down a run, so they're like trying to enforce and get extra runs, and I threw out 2, and then I think they were finally like, okay, we're going to stop doing that. So yeah, I think it was 5, but yeah, in back-to-back innings. And so yeah, that was the record, I guess, in a game and consecutive. But yeah,
I read that and I was like, dude, smart, and he's got a cannon. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bro, I think that's bad coaching, bro. It's telling the guy to just keep going.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, they were quick. Like they had a few bags on the year, but I mean, I don't know if they were getting bad jumps or they're playing in the sand at first. But I mean, it was just not close. And yeah, I mean, we almost blew that game. My roommate in right field let a ball go between his legs, and I was like, man, this is all over. But we clutched it up. We went to the tournament, and that was an awesome year. I'll never forget that. Yeah.
How far did y'all get in the tournament?
We finished 3rd in the tournament. So, yeah, also one of our best finishes in the last few years for that program.
That was cool.
That was a really fun time.
I want to ask Logan, we've seen, like, last chance you go from, football to basketball. We've never seen baseball version. Could you, like, describe us the life of, like, JUCO at the baseball level?
Yeah. Nathan, I love these – or Chris, sorry. I love these questions. Yeah. Man – It was unbelievable. I get excited just thinking about it because it was like the biggest cluster. Nobody knows what's going on. It's kind of like you just find fun and solitude in the craziness. I mean, we're having a lift in the morning. We didn't have a weight guy my sophomore year, so we're just in there. We were gritty though, and we had good leadership. We had like 8 returners. We're all like, we are going to be dogs in the weight room, and we were all jacked. That was the best shape I'd ever been in. It was awesome. We just looked like we were going to run people over. But yeah, I mean, like we'd wake up, we'd go to practice, we'd go to lift, we'd have lunch at a calf that didn't have good food, undercooked food. everybody's living in the same place. We all go back for a little bit, hang out, play some cards, whatever, then go practice. We do field work for 6 hours. I mean, it was like labor. We should have been getting paid an hourly wage. We were doing more work than we were playing, but I mean, yeah, those were great times. It was unbelievable. I wish I could just take a camera and go back and record every second of it. And I mean, I took some videos throughout the years, but not enough, man. I wish that I did. And I've thought about that before. There needs to be a baseball, a documentary about junior college, because that would be phenomenal.
I agree, 100%.
I'm glad you asked that, Chris, because I definitely forgot about the questions. Okay, so explain how it was like from going from that to mid-major D1. Still D1, still nice facilities. In a good conference, though. In a competitive conference. So explain what that jump was like.
Yeah, so first of all, the facilities here are tenfold better than what I had now. I mean, also my sophomore year, we didn't have a batting cage. So if you wanted to hit on the field, or if you want to take BP, you're hitting on the field or you're hitting into a net. And it's like, I don't really want to go pick them up. And I also kind of need to see the fight of the ball. So there's no middle ground. And it was like, how in the world are we the only junior college or baseball program period without a batting cage? So that was kind of insane. But the skill jump wasn't that crazy. I wouldn't say it was. I knew my catching could play. And I was like, okay, I just have to get right with my bat. And I bought into the approach that we had here. And it worked out for me a little bit. And I made some corrections this summer. And then I was like, yeah, it all just kind of has come together since then. And hitting with my guys that I hit with at home and my hitting coach here has been really good. But yeah, I mean, I had my freshman year of college at McLennan was like the best swing that I'd ever had. And I was like, man, why was that? It's really hard to try and go back to something after you lose feel for it. And so I'd watched so much video, talked to so many people trying to get right. And then it was like, wow, I had to really do some individual searching and talking with some certain people that I used to work out with. And I think I got that swing back, and it's also all in between the ears. Like, you could say that the skill jump is big, but really you're just overestimating the people here. It's all just baseball at the end of the day. I'm blessed to do what I do. And if you just think about it and approach the game like that, just, everybody's got to come to you. Like in hitting, just think that they're trying to beat you 3 times in a little box before you can put a ball in play, man. Like the simpler you make it, the easier it is. And so that's really what I attribute to success is really just mental. I didn't feel like I was overpowered or overmatched last year when I came. I think that my catching definitely had some improvement to do because it had always worked at certain levels. Hitting was a little bit different. Hitting was like, oh, okay, I'm getting exposed a little bit, change it, getting exposed, change it. But catching was always fine. And so finally, here I was like, okay, just making little tweaks. And so I think that's more of what this place showed is that I needed to make smaller adjustments to my game.
It's awesome to hear you say that because one of my friends is a former linebacker at Ball State University, Keontae Newsom, who 2 years ago led him in tackles. This year, I think he finished technically second on the team in tackles, but I think the MAC statistical people hold him a few times because he definitely has some PPUs that didn't count or whatever. But he actually forced a fumble in the Ball State Georgia game 2 years ago. And when I asked him about like what his mindset going against those bigger schools are, is they were one of the worst teams in the country the last couple of years. Let's just be honest. And he said a similar thing. Like they all eat, sleep, and breathe like we do. It's in your head. Like go out there and just make the plays.
Yeah, I literally think about my motto, or not motto, but I think about this quite often is less thinky, more doey. They say it in Top Gun. Like, man, just you outthink yourself. You got to trust your athleticism. You got to trust your body. Trust your eyes is huge. I think a lot of people overthink situations and just don't analyze situations and be present. I think that is a huge factor in success.
So you've explained in your lives before, but I'm sure most of the people watching have not been in your lives. Mm-hmm. How did you end up a Brewers fan from Chicago? I know that you mentioned in one of your lives that it was because of your family. So how does a group of people from Chicago end up Brewers fans and not Cubs or Sox fans?
Yeah, so my parents both grew up in Wisconsin in a little town outside of Milwaukee called Greendale. They never knew each other. They went to high school together, never met each other, and then they met out after college at a wedding. And so they were all, crazy timing. And so they were always, my dad is a big Packers fan, and my mom was just like, surrounded by Packers fans, and her dad was a big Packers fan. And so, I don't know. That's just how I was raised. My cousins are Packers fans. I always went to Packer games as a little kid, and then it always helped that we put a beat down on the Bears. And so I was like, man, this team sucks. Why would I want to be a Bears fan? So,
I don't blame you for that one. My brother,
I was always a Wisconsin fan. The Bucks were fun, and the only team I root for from Chicago is the Blackhawks, because Wisconsin doesn't have a hockey team. But yeah, I mean, I'll root for. I'm a pretty modest fan. Like, I'll root for Chicago teams when they're in good positions, or just never against each other. But I was happy for Bears fans when they beat the Packers this year. I was quite happy. I brought some friends along to that game, and I was like, you know what? Good for you guys. You deserve one.
Little fellas, you deserve it. My
Exactly.
brother.
Yeah.
I mean, they were being owned by Aaron Rodgers for 10 years, 10 straight years.
And Brett Favre before that.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty.
And Bart Starr before that.
They just keep going.
Yeah.
Move on from some baseball related questions, man. I might bring it back. So I'm gonna ask for a field review at the end of this. For your best one from last year. If y'all don't know, Logan does field reviews.
I did.
Check them out.
I got to bring that series back. I stopped doing that, and I was like, man, it's not really hitting the target audience that I wanted to, and it's a lot of work. You got to get one of your teammates to film you who's like, trying to prepare for the game mentally. It kind of takes a lot. And I was like, I'm going to stop this. And I went home, and some of my old coaches were like, hey, man, we love those videos. I was like, all right, I'll start doing them again. So, yeah.
Right. What was your favorite food growing up, and what is your favorite food now?
My favorite food growing up was probably spaghetti and meatballs. My mom and my grandma are very Italian, and so they would make that a lot. Did I lose you there? Did you hear me?
Yeah, you said your Paisano family.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was growing up, and now I would probably say I love a good steak. Steak is probably my favorite. I love any potato variation, French fried, mashed, double baked. I love that. Good carbs. And I'm not a big veggies guy anymore. I used to eat my fruits and veggies, but now I'm just straight protein and carbs. So yeah, that's what I think steak's kind of a boring answer, but that's what I'm going to stick with.
My fiance does hers well. She likes hers well done, and it's
That's
just bad, bless his heart. Likes them well done. I will say, 2 weeks ago, I went live and I was just talking ball while I was cooking the steaks, and I made them both well done, even though I don't like mine well done. But since she had marinated it all day, it was actually pretty good. It was still tender. It's the first well done steak I've ever had. It was tender, other than the one my dad made, my fiance. So, man, you gotta make some veggies in there every once in a while. How do you like your steak?
Medium rare.
As you should.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I had a thing that I was about to ask about food specifically.
Bro, I got a question for Logan. Man. I always say, the catchers are the smartest people on the field. Because I used to pitch, but hey, man, I just played high school ball, man. That was it. That was my claim to fame. But in my opinion, growing up, travel ball, whatever, the catchers were always the smartest people on the field. So my question for you is, was there a catcher that you modeled your game after that you looked at and were like, I want to play just like that guy when I grew up?
Sure. Growing up, I loved Jonathan Lucroy. And I also loved Buster Posey.
Oh, yeah.
But there was nobody that I was like, man, that guy is just special. And I mean, I also wasn't an avid ball watcher. I loved watching playoff baseball. To me, is some of the best TV ever. I don't care if you're a fan. I don't care if you've never seen it before. Playoff baseball is some of the best TV ever. And so I always watched that, but I was never watching every game and thinking, man, these guys are so good. I want to really do what this guy does. I think that Yadier Molina is a pretty obvious one, but I really admired his confidence when throwing. It doesn't matter if you're a foot off the bag, if you're, he's telling people to steal and throwing them out. I mess with that, dude. I like that kind of energy. So I would probably say a combination of all of those guys.
I stood on the. I'm a lifelong Cardinals fan. I'm from the Memphis area. Growing up going to ball games at AutoZone Park here. I stood on business that Yadier Molina was better than Buster Posey. Still think that to this day. Yadier Molina, Foolish Baseball. I don't know. Do you ever watch Foolish Baseball on YouTube? You ever heard of that guy, Logan?
No.
Dude, his baseball bits series. You could sit there as a baseball guy. I'm sure you. I don't know if you dive into like the advanced analytics. I don't understand half the advanced analytics he'll be talking about, but I like it. And he's got a video on Yadier Molina, like, and just how elite he was at throwing out runners during his career. The next closest team was like half as much as he threw out.
Yeah.
Because he was just that good, and he was one of the best framers too. And Jonathan Lucroy, even as a Cardinals fan, I respect the heck out of Jonathan Lucroy. Like when he was playing in his prime, dude was one of the best catchers in baseball.
Yeah.
So,
Chris, I wanted to answer your question a little bit more. You're talking about intelligence on the field. I would agree that the catcher has to know a lot of things, but I think that maybe at just the collegiate level, we have an earpiece, and my pitching coach, highly intelligent individual, telling me, he's done all the scouting report stuff. He knows what pitch he wants. He's telling me where to set up, where the ball is going to work. And so I think that it takes a lot of the intelligence aspect out of it at a college level. So I'm really I feel a little bit robotic sometimes. I mean, I'm getting the pitch signals on my watch. So I'm looking at my watch, and my coach is telling me, hey, this is where you're going to go. And if a bunt happens, this is where you're throwing the ball. So, I mean, I appreciate the credit, but I don't know if I can take it anymore. I used to think like, oh, hey, I got to know he's swinging under the ball, he's swinging over the ball, where he's setting up in the box. But, I mean, all these coaches do this like on a weekly basis. So I just wanted to give the coaches a big shout out there because they do a lot of work. And I'm a little bit less inclined to be watching video as a result because they know what they're talking about. I'm going to trust them. But of course, any mid-game adjustments that the player's doing, a hitter's doing, I'm going to relay, and so that's valuable information. But yeah, I think that would change a lot at the big league level, where the catchers are calling their own games and responsible for a lot of that. We have a little bit of freedom to do that, which my research would come into play. But yeah, the coaches are doing a lot of the work there.
And do you like wearing the earpiece? Because I'm sure in high school, and maybe early in college, it wasn't always there. So now it's newer. So, like, how do you like it? Are you a fan of it?
Yeah, I actually very much enjoy it. You don't even really think about it unless, it gets in your way throwing. You put it on your left ear so you don't have to mess with it when you're throwing. But, yeah, I do like it. I like knowing the instant feedback from my coaches. Hey, did you think this pitch was there or there? And I just look back and signal it to them. I do like that. I also like the pitch comm a lot. I like like in this is ridiculous, but in junior college in Alabama and in Texas, the coach is signaling 3 numbers. You look at a big wristband, you find the numbers, and that's the play. And like we got kind of a big wake call because a team that we played against is sitting there with a freaking Sharpie and a board and writing down the numbers and what it means. And I mean, that's the easiest thing to pick up and dissect. And so I'm glad, it kind of really takes apart picking up my signs. And so a player has to be really good, from the dugout or on second base, picking a pitcher's grips if he wants to relay signs or, it just takes a lot of the chances that we're going to lose signs. It takes a lot of that out of it. So it's a lot of just mano-a-mano baseball, your best guy versus our best guys. And if you can pick pitches from second base so the dugout's good for you and you're going to have an advantage. So I do
breakdown. That's a catcher. That's the mind of a catcher right there, man. Yeah. So I got to give you all the credit, but take all the credit, just run with it, bro. That's how you got it.
I appreciate it.
You might have to watch more film now that you've said that, but just don't get Kyler Murray bad where they got to put it in your contract that you got to do it.
Yeah, no, I'm. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And my question that I couldn't remember: are you a sweet potato fry guy or no?
I'd never had them before I was in Texas, and I think that they're okay. I like sweet potatoes, period. I think it's like dessert, but sweet potato fries, I'm kind of iffy on. I'd rather just have my French fry.
Oh, I'm a big sweet potato guy.
Yeah, Memphis guy, I'm sure you are.
She made me some sweet potatoes one time. This was in between, me and my fiance have been together for starting 5 years now, but 4 years. my mom made a sweet potato, and before I even left the driveway, I was demolishing. She looked over, and the sweet potato's halfway gone. She was like, "I'm scarred for life." But if you do come back to Memphis, there's a restaurant. And there's a bunch of them from as far north as Millington, Tennessee, which is about 45 minutes to an hour north of downtown. And then in DeSoto County, there are a few restaurants called Huey's. Huey's is the best burger in Memphis. And the best barbecue, in my opinion, is Central, but the best burger is Huey's. Huey's sweet potato fries. My go-to order is the Bluff City burger. It's got barbecue sauce, onion straws on it, cheddar cheese, bacon, and I always get it with sweet potato fries because they serve it with like a spicy chipotle or ranch. Oh, whew, that's literally what I.
Sounds good. You make me hungry,
dude. It is good. See, what do you do outside of baseball? Like what are your hobbies?
That's a great question. Man, I don't know. During the season, I don't really have time for many hobbies. I really enjoy posting on TikTok and on Instagram. I've been doing that kind of on and off for like 4 years, but really getting consistent with it lately. And it's a good outlet for me too. I enjoy being creative, and I think I'm going to start channeling that into like that catching coaching that I'm talking about. I want to start doing that pretty frequently. But yeah, I mean, I got a fishing pole right here. I enjoy fishing with the fellas. I really enjoy spending time with my family.
You stay ready.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time with my family when I'm home. Any sort of competitive games I enjoy. I enjoy cards. But yeah, I'm not a big walker. I hate walking, so that's one thing you will not find me doing. If my mom wants to go on a walk, I'm bringing a bike. And yeah, besides that, I don't really have much, to be honest with you. I enjoy baseball a lot, and a lot of my life kind of revolves around that.
Did you ever hunt growing up? We found out the other day Chris has only hunted like twice in his entire life, and it was when he was at Texas A&M. Even though he's
that was.
What did you think of that?
I was just kind of like, wow, like, bro, we got to be quiet for this long, and I forgot what we called, bro. Like I think we called like one. They said a certain word, and I was like, it looked like a deer to me, so I'm calling it deer. But
the fact that you talk tells me all I need to know.
Yeah, man. All I know, it was cold, it was rainy, and I was like, we've been quiet for way too long. I need like some noise, bro. Like, I don't like the quiet, y'all.
That's funny. That's hilarious. I think I would struggle with the same things. I enjoy silence, but I also, if I'm sitting there with some of my best friends, I'm like, we got to be chatting somehow. But
yeah, bro.
I've never been. I don't think I could kill anything, to be honest. It wouldn't really be fun for me. I have been to a duck blind before, like scouting out a little duck blind. I did that in Alabama just for fun. I was like, got up at 4 a.m. before class, and I was like, sure, I'll come with you guys. That'll be a good time. And it was pretty fun, actually, just like walking around and seeing what my Alabama buddies enjoyed doing in their off time. So yeah, I had a good time with that, but I don't know if I would ever personally do it.
I've grown up deer hunting and squirrel hunting and rabbit hunting a little bit when I was a kid. I'm in the same boat as y'all. God has blessed me with the opportunity to put so many deer on the ground, and I've missed every single one of them I've ever, shot a pew at. Like I've missed like my first deer ever. This was like, I think I was in middle school, 7th, 8th grade, Thanksgiving Day. That morning, I missed a beautiful Mississippi 8-point. I mean, he was beautiful. I mean, like, would have put him on the wall. He would be on the wall in our house, whether my, soon-to-be wife likes it or not, because I'd still have him. He'd probably be sitting in the car. I'd be petting him right now. Beautiful deer. Missed him that morning at 25 yards. And then that evening, go eat, get full as a daggum tick. He missed a 6-point that evening, same daggum day. It was, man.
Oh, my God, bro.
I don't like to be in still thing. And they're like, how you got the vibe of duck hunting? Cool glasses. Big glasses guy is Logan. Duck hunting's fun, but I've only been like twice in my life. You don't have to be as quiet duck hunting. Birds are flying, shut the hell up. Like they coming in, zip it. But otherwise, you sitting there, like where I'm from, like Drake waterfowl started like an hour and a half from where I'm at right now. Reelfoot Lake is in West Tennessee. It got created by that really big earthquake years ago, in the 1800s.
I've shot some guns before, but I don't think I'll ever. I don't think I'll ever go hunting.
So I'm a big weapon. I'm a big one with that. I'm sitting in my car right now, so I am exercising my Second Amendment right as a means of protection, sitting in my car. Because my TikTok studio has become my car. Today it was my work truck because I made the LSU video, did my notes before I had to go do something. They had us moving. We're moving from one shop to another shop. And since I didn't have anything to do today, they were like, hey, Nathan, guess what you get to do? And I was like, don't tell me, because if it ain't make my LSU video and just chill on my phone all day, I don't want to hear it. And so it ended up having to be moving, but I made my video on lunch. I think LSU is going to make the tournament, win the College World Series. That's beside the point. So is there anything? Go ahead.
Bro, it's crazy hearing how everybody's grinding on their brand, like on their job. They're like Logan's talking about, like, I'm trying to get ready for the game, but also, like, I'm trying to push out this content. He's like, if I don't push out this content, people back home, they're going to be like, man, we want the good content, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, man, Nathan, I know you're at work. You're like, also, I got to get this video out. Man, I love it, y'all. Hey, man, we all grinders. I love it.
Bond's video at work 2 weeks ago. I worked on the video today at work. Like, we've got a lot of top 100 top 100 players in the position in the country at LSU. And I think it's disrespectful for us to be fourth in the conference. So, look, I know your time is very valuable. I don't even know what time it is now.
Then we lost.
It's 7:30 now, so we ran a little bit long. I don't have but a couple more questions for you.
Yeah, no, I got like 10 more minutes. You're all good.
All right. So, so two things, two of the biggest ones, and then I got a little. This is more so. Well, there's three questions really, and then one's a little son of a bitch. Sorry, can't get the words out sometimes. So, what's some advice you would give to a young ball player that might be watching right now, might be grinding it out?
Yeah. I had this question a few weeks ago, actually, on this podcast that I did, and I think I said it pretty well. So I'll try to say the same things, but really just trusting in your ability and putting in the hard work that has to be done. I think every player has a gauge on how much they've worked. It gets to a certain point where you're just swinging the swing. You're really not working on anything anymore. But I encourage every person to hit that gauge every day. And be like, okay, you know what? I had a good day. I'm starting to get tired. And, my work isn't where it should be. My level of intensity isn't where it needs to be right now. So I'm going to pack it up and do the same thing tomorrow. So I think, knowing when to stop is a really big thing, because some guys will just swing until they can't feel their hands. And you're not really doing anything for yourself by that point. So I think that's a pretty big one that I wish I would have been told. And also trusting that work that you put in is huge. I think that I was always trying to do too much and, be the best athlete on the field all the time. And sometimes you're not going to be that. Sometimes you just have to play the long game. Like, I was on the B team my freshman year and, split time my sophomore year. And I think that my story is a pretty true example of just putting in your own hard work, regardless if anyone sees it. And the good things are going to come to you. You just have to have faith. And, I think that my passion for God has really helped me get pretty far. But yeah, those would be some things. So, to recap there, trust yourself, don't do too much, and be you and have faith that it's going to work out. I think those would be my big three.
That's awesome. All right, so that may lead into one of my last questions for you, or one of the last couple that I have. So this is kind of a more fun one, less of a serious one. What is something about Logan Kreske that not a lot of people know, if anybody really knows, that you would like people to know? What's like either a fun fact or something that you want people to know that they don't know?
Sure. I kind of let those two slip already. Those, like, my go-to are the twin stuff that I mentioned earlier, and then also that I was a child model. So now I'm out. I played my cards too early. Now I got to think about another one. Okay, this is a pretty good one. I am super into, I don't know, I think that people might have been able to guess this, or at least my community, but I'm super into anything holistic. Like, I barefoot everything. Like, in the weight room, I'm walking around in my socks. I never wear shoes. It took me a year to convince my strength coach here that I should be wearing socks and not like this 4-inch thick foam padding at the bottom of my shoes. So, I've been mouth taping for like 6 years before it became a trend on TikTok. And
does it work?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Wow. Okay.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I used to have a chiropractor that I would go to, and this is like 2018, 2016. sorry, those are two totally different dates. 2017, 2018, I would go to him, and he's walking around his office completely barefoot, no socks. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? This is so weird. And he's like, oh, yeah, you want to know something else weird? I tape my mouth at night, too. And I'm like, well, this guy's on cocaine. Has to be. I mean, unbelievable. I don't know what we're talking about here. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. So, like, my junior year of high school, I started mouth taping 2019. And, yeah, I've done it every night since. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, literally anything holistic I'm a fan of. Whether that, blue light glasses, I think, is really big. I try to avoid Bluetooth headphones. Wow. Yeah, I mean, barefoot stuff. Yeah, I mean, some people call it crazy, which I agree. My family thinks I'm a little weird for it, but, it's only crazy if it doesn't.
Aaron Rodgers' best friend. So you're going to go into a darkness retreat with Aaron Rodgers?
No, it's on my bucket list to go to Costa Rica with my dad and do the Aaron Rodgers experience. But,
I've heard that ayahuasca, though. I've heard it's terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's horrible.
Yeah, you be up chucking and learn something out of it about yourself.
I mean, darkness retreat. Yeah, I might try it all. You never know. That might be my next series on there.
All right, so two things. One of them's a personal thing for me. You got any advice for me going into coaching 11 and 12-year-old kids? Because I was never the most talented player on any of my teams that I ever played. Like, I played, like when I was at Brighton High School, I was never good anyway, but like they were nationally ranked my junior and senior. Like, they was good. So, like, you got any advice for me for coaching on these kids?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've never really been, like we have to do some coaching events here that, with a bunch of kids and they come and ask you stuff. And I kind of struggle with that sometimes because I'm like, man, I don't really have an interest in being a coach. And as you're asking that question, I was like, man, what advice can I give? And I think that the biggest piece of advice I could give you is to build a relationship with each kid. I think that you pouring into them is going to mean so much more than you just talking about baseball. Because obviously your passion for baseball is great, but I think that's going to bleed into a lot of the relationships that you have, and that's going to be super awesome. And the best coaches that I've ever been a part of and the best teams I've ever been a part of, the coaches build an individual relationship with you. I mean, I still talk to so many of those coaches and guys that I've had in my corner since like T-ball. And so I would literally say just care about each and every kid, I had a high school, my Pirate Scout coach from high school yelled at me more than anybody else in my entire college career, and I will probably still invite him to my wedding. I like, seriously, he was the man and taught me really what baseball was. And I would say even tough love, you got to give it sometimes. I think that's more valuable to the relationship than it would be, if you're just trying to be their friend. So be a good coach, and by doing that, you're going to have good relationships. So.
Yeah, I relate to that in a way, man, because like I was a volunteer firefighter on one of the best volunteer fire departments in the entire nation. Right after I graduated high school, and I was fresh out of high school, 18. Just my ego, my everything, but like they were really hard on me to the point where like they were too hard on me, and like have apologized for some of that. But like I've learned so much, and I've looked back on that as such a learning experience. They were so tough on me, but now like having gone through the things that I've gone through, it's like, man, I'm very grateful for it. Like I'm very grateful that God's timing prevails in all situations. Like Chris mentioned at the front, like we're men, we've got goals. Everybody watching's probably got a goal or two. And we want to do it now. Well, we just got to trust the timing. Like I stopped by because I went and, exercised my Second Amendment right over the weekend with my friends, and just got to go do country guy stuff for the first time in a little minute. And I stopped by that fire station, and one of the firefighters was there, and he was like, "No, man, we're on good terms with you. If you ever want to come back, you can." And we actually still talk about you. I said, "Well, I hope it's good." And they were like, "Yeah, I mean, you set the standard for our probationary firefighters. You ran over 100 calls in 6 months." I was like, yeah, there was many a call where it was just me and somebody that actually knew what the hell they were doing, not just a back holder running some calls. And so I think that's awesome. And the last thing, and I think this is a good way to end it, and you may have already talked about this, and maybe we can just wrap up with this. What is a piece of advice that you've gotten that has been really impactful? Maybe it's from a grandpa, maybe it's from the word, maybe it's from a coach, maybe, you know what I mean? Just any piece of advice that has really stuck out with you and help guide you along your way.
My first reaction to hearing that is It's a great interview question, by the way. So props to you for that. And I always see these kind of questions on the internet. Like there's this guy I follow, School of Hard Knocks, walks around, interviews billionaires, and he's like, "What's the best piece of advice?" And they always have some banger answer. And I'm like, I don't know what I would say to that. I think that it would probably be do it while you can. And my mom always told me that. She's like, man, if you love it, why would you not keep doing it? If you're able-bodied, why would you not keep pursuing it? And I think that I've just kind of continued to do that. Like my love for the game has never really ran out. And I hope that it doesn't, but one day it might. And there's no point in playing a game, if you don't have a love for it. And a part of playing the game is playing it for the right reasons. So whenever that day comes, that might be it. But yeah, I think that, just chase your dreams, and while you're young is the time to do it, because the responsibility only grows as you get older. As I've really figured that one out. I think that this year, really in the fall and this semester, has been an eye-opening experience to me. Being a senior is like, wow, the world kind of starts after this year, and no one's coming to save you. You gotta do everything by yourself. You make your own food. You do all these things that you've been doing for 4 years, but it gives you a different perspective. And so I think that, just being told to do it while you can is really big in chasing my dreams. So
I will thank you for that answer. I will say that was one of Chris's questions, actually, to give full credit where credit's due. That was one of the questions Chris could come up with. And who do I think will be the right field? Austin, I'll comment that on my video that I made today, and I'll answer it. And I'm really grateful for your time, Logan. Man, I think I do appreciate the fact that we were able to get into all kinds of stuff. That it was a good vibey conversation, and I look forward to seeing what you do this year. I really hope that you get more time on the field this year than you did. And it sounds like you're a good team guy, and I don't say that like I'm not even talking about like depth tardy things. I'm just like I root for people. Like I'm a Saints fan, but I was rooting for Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley in that Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like I'm an LSU fan, but like Jake Elliott from Memphis was out there. I'm an LSU fan, but Chris Jones is from Mississippi, and AJ Brown's from Mississippi, and there was a guy from where where I was born, the same county. He played in the Super Bowl. Like I root for people. And so I really do think you're one of the people in college baseball that I'm going to be rooting for, this year. And, off chance you play LSU in Omaha, that all goes away. I want you to know, or, somehow y'all come to Baton Rouge for the regional, that all goes away. You can go 4 for 4 and hit 20 home runs, but I hope you lose by 30. That's easy, man. I really appreciate your time, man. I really appreciate that you're not scared to talk about Jesus, and you're not scared to talk about it. Because am I perfect? No. Are you perfect? No. Is Chris perfect? No. But Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And you don't get to heaven without knowing Jesus. You don't get to heaven without believing that Jesus was crucified on that cross and was resurrected 3 days later, and is sitting at the righteous right hand of God, pleading for all of us right now. And He will return one day. He doesn't know the day or the hour. We don't know the day or the hour. But Logan, not thank you enough, man, for your time tonight. Is there anything else you need to say before we end your interview officially?
I got nothing. I just appreciate you guys, and really well put together interview. So I appreciate both of your times, and go Docs. Appreciate it, guys.
If you'd have been my first interview a year ago, I'd have been dog shit. So here we go, and I'm just trying to get better.
Hey, yeah, you got to start somewhere. Somewhere. You just got to start, though. That's half the battle.
Yes, so, man.
There you go.
Good luck to you this season. Health and wealth, brother. I'm sure I'll see you in your lives at some point. I'll be popping in there. I really do enjoy the vibe of your lives. You talk about you enjoying it, and that's something that I've done. Is like I at one point in time I was grinding, like try to get to 10K before the end of football season, and then I just stopped because I burned myself out. And I'll make content that I'm happy with. The Barry Bonds video, that was random.
Yeah.
But I'm making content that I'm passionate about. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that you specifically, like people on, there's certain ways that people think that you're supposed to post. I think that you are the individual niche. You should be posting what you want to be posting, and the audience will come to you. I mean, this is exactly what I was talking about with baseball. Like, if you don't have a love for it, if you don't actually enjoy it, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. So I think that it's a good it's a good factor to encompass in your posting.
Cool. Well, I do appreciate it, man. We're gonna be me and Chris will probably wrap this thing up for like 2 seconds. But Logan Kreske, everybody, give him a round of applause in the chat, man. Good luck to you this season. Safe travels all around the daggone world and all over it might be, man. Health and well to you, brother.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a great night. Thanks.
All right. Take care, Logan. Take care, man.
That was cool.
Oh yeah, Logan's awesome, bro.
But that was first baseball player in the books, bro. That's awesome.
I'm a fan, bro. I'm finna drop a follow after this.
Man,
I'm a big fan.
I root for people, man. Like, because we all, like Keontae pointed out, and like he even pointed out, like, we're all humans, bro. We all are humans. And in college athletics, our fandom makes us forget about that a lot of times. I mean, I try not to because I know people that have played college ball, you know, and like I went to school with people that play college ball and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Very, very grateful for the opportunity because he didn't have to come on the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, he seems like a good dude. Like, and you know, he's somebody.
He's real down to earth, man. Yeah, real down to earth, man. You can't get that from everybody, and that's the thing.
Talk about with me, people respect that. Like, if y'all meet me at Kroger on a cereal aisle and I see you're wearing a Texas A&M shirt, I'm like, man, y'all are trash. You know, and we're gonna get to talking ball for a second. Or maybe we won't. Maybe I won't say anything because you're wearing that god awful Texas A&M. You know, maybe I won't. But if I sit out there and talk, you'll get the same guy here and in my videos that you'll get at the grocery store. And that's, people are so scared to be genuine, man. People are so scared to follow their truth. I had so many people tell me I wasn't going to, you know, be able to make it. And God willing, I will, you know. And God willing, anybody that's watching, that's why I want to tell people.
They can make it too.
Stories. Exactly.
Like Logan said, you just have to get out there and start. If you start, you're already off to, if you start something, you're already off to a head start. You're already off.
People so scared of failing that they don't even start.
Oh my gosh! See, I gotta get Marcel, bro. That's
Marcel is in my live talking A&M ball. I do have y'all. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but check out my video. I really think LSU is gonna be, bro. The fact that we're predicted fourth to go, I think we'll probably not win the conference, but we'll probably come in first or second. We might win the conference. Like we legit. We might go 46-10 or 40. We might go 46-10 or 40-16. Like that's how talented this roster is. We do play Dallas Baptist early.
Hey, them boys can play. Them boys can play. I grew up 2 minutes from that campus. My house is literally 2 minutes from that campus, but them boys can ball, bro. Like,
how far are you from Frisco?
Frisco, 50 minutes. Frisco's far, bro. Frisco's far, dude.
50 minutes ain't far, bro. I used to live 50 minutes from Memphis.
But we're all in Dallas. I was like, bro, nah. Frisco is far. Plano's far. North Texas far. Bro. It's man.
I could be in Nashville in 3.5 or 4 hours, depending on traffic. Closer to like 3 and some change. I can be in Oxford in an hour, roughly.
I could drive 9 hours north and still be in Texas. I could drive 10 hours south and still be in Texas, and I could drive 12 hours west and still be in Texas. It's crazy, bro.
Texas is massive, and our love for college athletics is massive. This episode will be live, or if it downloads right and does what it's supposed to do, it will be on the Busted Knee Sports Network on YouTube. Check out Chris's content. He's primarily college football, but he'll be talking college baseball with us live on Tuesday nights. And I'll drop in the group chat with the fellas who hopefully will be joining us next week. It's a big name guy that caught in the SEC. He was a catcher in the SEC. That's all I will say. And if y'all can figure it out, cool. If not, but I want y'all to know, man, you can do it. God loves you. I love you. Thank you, Chris, for your time. We cannot thank Logan Kreske, Wichita State catcher, enough. God willing, we will see y'all next Tuesday with another former D1 catcher. God bless you. Have a great week.
See you guys.